instructional services at the Virginia Department of Ed. I also serve as a specialist for students with learning disabilities and attention deficit. And my colleague?
And I'm Ann Petersen. I am the science coordinator for the Department of Ed, and I will be joined this week with my peers, Myra Thayer, who I believe is on right now, and Gregory McDougall, which serves science specialist. And we are so excited to have the interest and to have you here today. And we look forward to the next 4 days.
All right. The schedule, we have the schedule. It's on the next slide. As a matter of fact, you'll see an overview of each of our days. You'll find that our TTAC specialists, as well as some of our own co-teaching teachers from our co-teaching demonstration site, will be working with us over the next couple of days. So we're looking forward to that. Please, I think there's a copy of the agenda for these days in our shared drive. All right, we can move on. One of the things that I wanted to talk with you about today is inclusive education and the co-teaching practice. It's on the next slide. I'm sorry. Each session, there's a Zoom link. We expect you guys to participate. There are materials. We're going to keep your cameras off and mute during most of the sessions. However, the speakers will be breaking you into groups, asking you to turn on your cameras or turn on your speaker in order to share. So again, those are some of the logistics for the day. Okay. Participate. We really want to engage you. This is an unusual way of doing a conference. We've done 2 of these in the last couple of weeks, and they're going very well, but we want you to be engaged. We also want you to understand that you have to attend to all the sessions to receive your stipends. Okay. In terms of our first part of this session is to get common understanding of inclusive practice and co-teaching. Understand that the federal or state regs do not address inclusion. However, they do, and they do not define it. However, they do require that our students be placed in our least restrictive environment. The least restricted environment requires that our students with disabilities, to the maximum extent appropriate, be included in the general ed setting with their age peers. And this will depend on the severity and the nature of their disability, but the first place we want to start is the regular class with supplementary aids and services. And we don't want them removed unless we cannot address their needs in the general classroom. And we can go to the next slide. The co-teaching classroom is one of the ways that we do it. And co-teaching is a service option, a service delivery option where 2 professionals share responsibilities for a group of students for some or all the day long. Again, the service model is designed to provide access to the general curriculum as well as access to age peers. And we provide specially designed instruction. That is what the teacher does. We provide supplementary aids. That is what the students need, such as accommodations and modifications. And we, again, also provide some related services. In relationship to one of the requirements of special education is that we have to report data to the Federal Office of Special Education as it relates to our indicators. And there are 17 indicators. And one of those indicators in which I chair is indicator 5, and that is least restrictive environment. We have to measure how many of our students are spending what percentage of their day in the general classroom. And we look at our students now, the new regs have brought it down to 5-year-old kindergartners, but mainly we look at 6th grade through 6-year-olds through 21. Are they served in the classroom more than 80% of the day? Less than 40% of the day, or are they educated in separate places such as residential facilities? Well, today I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to assist us in this process. We are looking at a renewal, an updating of our targets. We have targets that are set that we as a state have to meet on a year-to-year basis as it relates to where our students with disabilities are placed in our buildings. So if you could go to the next slide. Historically, our data is always 2 years behind. So I know that our data right now is pretty close to 69% for 2021. However, the data for that we're reporting on this summer will be the 2019 data. You notice that we have a target of 70% of our students spending 80% or more of their day in the general classroom. We have not met that target. In this 2019 data, we're at 67.78. We're looking at we have to set new targets, and we have to decide how do we want to set those targets. Do we want to increase them by 0.5%, a whole percent, or 1.5% annually, stay the same for consecutive years, or others? And if you think there's something else that we should be doing, you can put those comments in the chat box. So we have a poll, and we're going to share that poll with you. You as a stakeholder, teachers in Virginia, getting some input into federal requirements. It's an unusual happening, and we wanted to take advantage to get your input. So the poll we're going to put up now kind of shares with you, gives you an opportunity to determine which area you would like to see it increased. Amber, yes. So there's a poll. Would you like to see it increase by 0.5%, a whole percent, 1.5%, or stay the same? So please fill in that poll very quickly. And again, we're getting data from all around the states, all kinds of stakeholder groups, and whatever the targets that we set will stay in place for the next 5 years. So this is over time. Thank you. About 90% have voted. All right, I think that's good. Okay, the next one, I think that's the wrong poll, Amber. The next one is 5B. Our targets, what this is, the self-contained classrooms. We want to increase our students' participation in the general curriculum, so we want to decrease their time in the special education classroom. So looking at the data, from the last 5 years or 4 years, you'll notice that right now, about 9% of our students spend less than 40% in the general classroom. Our target was 8. We have not met that target. Do we want to decrease it down by 0.25 or 0.5%, a 0.25%, 0.5%, whole percent, or 1.5%? Please make your selection. Again, our goal is to get more of our students out in the general classroom if their needs can be met. There's a question in the box. Does this include severe and profound students? Yes, it does. The data that we submit includes all of our students, not by specific disability, but all students with disabilities. Is there a reason that we're not meeting the goal? Yes, there are reasons. IEP teams determine placement of students. So it's an IEP team decision. Okay. All right, let's go to the final one. 5C, 5C looks at our outplacement of our students, where when we're outplacing students in private placement. As you'll notice that our target was 2.5%. We have not met that target. We are slightly higher, almost 2 times as high as that. So we want to decrease the number of students we're outplacing outside of our building. Please select either decrease by 0.1%, 0.25, or 0.33 or 0.50. Or we can leave it to the same. Is there a consequence to the state for not meeting the goal? There can be consequences to the state for not meeting the goal. However, we have to explain why we did not meet the goal. For example, some of the outplacement is not necessarily done by the school, but maybe done by other organizations such as juvenile detention centers, the community service agencies. So there are some things that we have no control. Thank you all for the great questions, and thank you for your input. Your input is aligning with a lot of your folks in math and English and other areas, so we are pleased. And again, parents, there are a lot of reasons that we are not meeting our numbers. Do they ever separate out the data, like how much? That is in terms of separating the data to look at the high school versus elementary. A lot of that is done at the division level. We only get the compiled data for your division. Thank you very much for participating in the poll. We will go on with the slides and turn it over to Anne. One of the things I'll let you know, this data is published on our website. You can go see for your individual division, or you can see the date for the entire state. So now, thank you for helping us. We've got some input from you that will be helpful for us as we put together our report. Okay, Anne.
I am so excited to see you here today, and I love seeing your responses to the chat, wanting to put more hands-on in the classroom, engage kids with science, differentiate for science. I love the one comment that she was a collaborative teacher working in earth science, and she said, "We teach science education." And that is really what co-taught education is about. It's not about, oh, the regular ed teacher and the SPED teacher. It is really working in a collaborative way to support students in the co-taught classroom. Teresa asked me to put some stuff in, and I said, what really encapsulates what science is? And I think what encapsulates it is our science and engineering practices. Opportunities for kids to engage in science, and using that engagement, using those opportunities, being able to explore, to investigate, to design, and to truly use that as a basis for developing science conceptual understanding. So we did tie this into the 5 C's that you hear about a lot with deeper learning in the state of Virginia. And you realize that even though we put collaboration, planning, and carrying out investigation, really planning and carrying out investigation involves critical thinking, at times creative thinking, communicating with your peers. But this is where our emphasis is going to be on having the kids use and develop these skills and apply it as they learn about science concepts. So Amber, if you wouldn't mind. So we do as well have some poll questions. And the reason is, you always learn about differentiation for different kids in the classroom. We want to differentiate you. So what we're going to do is ask you 2 things. We have a poll with, I believe, 5 questions that you need to answer. And then we would like you to put in front of your name. If you go to hover over your picture or your box, and you'll see 3 dots show up. When you click on that 3 dots, you have the option to rename. So if you would rename yourself, and if you affiliate with Science 6, I would do Earth Science. If you would align to life science, physical science, or Earth Science, that would be great. And Ms. Stokes, do you have a question? Or Mr. Stokes?
No.
Oh, okay. Okay, I am going to launch the poll and be as forthright as possible because we want to know how much instruction and how our focus should be the next few days. And I hope you all see the poll. If you have multiple classes, choose one that is most interest to you or where you need the most area of growth. So if you have a preference for life science or physical science, just choose one. You might even do the one that you feel least comfortable with so you can explore it a little more. So
I guess I was moving too slow. The poll went away. Is there any way I can get it back?
I show it as being seen. Amber, do you know? She may have hit end polling. I'm not sure.
It should still be open.
I have a poll that's open, but I can't answer question 4. I'm not a SPED teacher.
Okay, then don't worry about it.
It won't let me submit.
Don't worry about it. Just don't
Okay.
submit anything. Just go ahead and submit your answers.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't submit without submitting them all. Go ahead and I guess assign to co-teach, and that would be good. Okay, I think we still have a few more people to answer, but I will say Myra and I are going to hang out for at least part of this session today, but you're going to jump in with us. We're going to be the focus more on Wednesday and Thursday. At any time, if you have questions, concerns, please feel free to reach out to us. And I think, Amber, we're at 49, so hopefully we'll get a couple more people and then Teresa can take over.
Yes, we're really excited to have our